Okay, this is a reaction video. What Americans should know before they visit Europe. This is from Wolters World. He does a lot of traveling around the world. And please click like, share, and subscribe for him. And please click like, share, and subscribe for me as well. But what Americans should know before they visit Europe. Now, this video was done June 4th of this year. So this is a recent video for him. So let's see what he has to tell us about if you're planning on visiting Europe. And if people from Europe, if some of us are coming over there, and obviously we stand out, we're loud, we don't know what to wear and things like that, please put your information there. Tell me how right he is, so I know not to make a jerk out of myself when I go over to Europe.
Hey there, fellow travelers. Mark here with Wolters World. We're in Salzburg, Austria, one of the cutest towns you can definitely come to in Europe. And a lot of people come here on their first trip to Europe. And so today what we have for you are...
Yeah, I was up north in Germany. That wasn't my first place, but it is Salzburg. I've seen pictures just like we're looking at right here, and it is a beautiful, beautiful city. There's an American footballer, Brennan Aronson, who played for FC Salzburg or Red Bull Salzburg, and spoke poetic of it in an interview that I just recently saw. But hey, yeah, Salzburg.
Kind of 11 tips or little things you should know about Europe before you come so you can have a better trip. And this is really for those first-time travelers to Europe, so you know some of the differences out there to get you more ready. Now, the first thing you probably want to know about some of the differences is the toilet in Europe. Yes, you can still sit down in the toilets in Europe. That's not a problem. Only once in a blue moon will you find a hole in the ground, like a porcelain hole to go potty in. You're going to have the same toilets. But the thing is, it's the flushing that's a little different. In the U.S., we have that little handle we pull down on. Here, you usually have buttons. A small button that...
Now, the ironic thing is I actually have a toilet downstairs in my bathroom, which has the push button like that. So that would not faze me. But the only thing I was thinking of would be the stalls in the United States are a little bit more open than the stalls in Europe. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, trust me, there's plenty of videos on that you can look at. But I actually have one of those toilets where you're actually pushing a button.
That small button is for number one, okay, if you got to go pee. And the big button is if you have a big job, okay? Sometimes you also see like a 1 dot and then 2 dots. Well, 1 dot is for number one, 2 dots is for number two, okay? Another thing is if you're going to public toilets, not everywhere in Europe, but some places in Europe, they do pay for toilets.
Yeah, when I was in, I think it was Mannheim in Germany, I had to pay €1 to take a leak.
You have to pay to go in, maybe 50 cents or €1, but that usually means they're pretty clean. And I would say overall, public toilets in Europe are way cleaner than the U.S. Like, I don't feel like I'm going to get some disease going to the bathroom here as I do in some...
Well, I don't feel like I'm getting a disease in one of the toilets in the United States either, to be fair. But yeah, I know what he's talking about. Some of them depends on where you are, to be honest with you. Like if you're in New York City, you probably will want to hold that until you get to the hotel.
Places, roadside places in the U.S., okay? So first thing is a little different are the toilets. So be ready for those buttons. And some you actually have to hold the button down until everything goes away, and then you let the water off, okay? The second thing you should know about when you come to Europe is you're going to walk a lot. You'll see Europeans are walking a lot. They're in really good shape. They don't look like me, okay? They're walking, they're fit, and all these things. And when you travel here, you will do the walking too. You're not driving around. You're not taking taxis everywhere. You're walking. So if you're coming here for the first time, make sure you're practicing your walking. Do some...
One of the things that I found when I was in Frankfurt, also in Berlin, is a lot of the things that you want to see, and even in Cologne as well, everything is close to the train station. Like when Berlin, when you get up, there's the Reichstag, the Brandenburg Gates wasn't too far from there, and so forth. When I was in Cologne, when you get up, in Cologne, they have this big giant cathedral that once you get off the train, the cathedral's right there. If you get lost in Cologne, seek the high ground, find the cathedral, and walk towards it. That's how you find yourself to the train station. And Frankfurt, yeah, but you do, that's right, you do a lot of walking in Europe. That is true.
Walks at home around the block. Start around the block, then around the neighborhood to get ready for when you come here. Also, make sure you have good shoes. Now, don't buy new shoes the day before you go because those are going to kill your feet. Make sure you break your shoes in before you come because, believe me, you will be doing a lot of walking here. Now, the third thing you should know is if you don't want to do walking, and probably if you do walking, you're going to do this, is the public transport. European public transport overall is very, very good. Buses, trams, metros, subways, suburban trains.
Yeah, you're going to use public transport an awful lot in Europe. And You're right. It is very, very good. I don't think we ever took a taxi when I was in Germany. We always used the train, and it was incredible. Always on time. It was just fantastic.
They go everywhere and they're super simple to use. But the thing is, you got to know where to buy the tickets. Now, most of them you can buy tickets like on buses and trams. You can buy tickets from the driver. Metros, they usually have a machine, or you can talk to a person and buy it from them.
Yeah, when we first got to Germany, we were buying a metro ticket to get to the hotel in Frankfurt, and we were lost. We had no clue. And there was a gentleman there who basically showed us how to do it. Just was said, "Hey, having trouble?" And obviously understood that we were Americans, but we spoke English. He spoke English, and he helped us, showed us how to do it. Very friendly individual. A lot of people will do that in Germany, I found out.
But most of the time, it's going to be a little kiosk, a little, personless thing where you put your money in or your credit cards in and buy it there. But just know in places like, for example, Berlin or Munich, you can just walk onto the metro or walk onto the suburban train and no one checks your ticket. And you think, oh, well, that's free. Well, no, it's not. Sometimes they have people that are walking through checking to see if people have tickets. And if you get caught, they don't care if you know Sprechen Sie Deutsch. They'll still fine you. I found that out a long time ago, and you will get fined, and they will not.
Actually, a funny thing is when we bought the ticket and we were taking the metro inside Frankfurt, they never checked our ticket. Okay. And we did it about 3 or 4 times and they never checked our ticket. My father, before we were getting ready to leave, heading to the airport in Frankfurt, he said, we better get tickets. And I was going to say, wait, they never checked the tickets. Why bother? But since I had all these coins, these euros that I need to get rid of, I said, I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to keep my mouth shut and buy the ticket. And guess what they did on our way to the airport? They checked the ticket. So listen to what this man is saying. He's telling the truth.
Not take any pity on you because you are a foreigner. So make sure you do have to buy the tickets, and a lot of times there'll be a little machine and you have to validate it. It's a little punch thing to say it works. That's the next thing is the public transport, you will use it, but you got to get tickets for it, okay? And validate them. Now, the fourth thing you might want to know is, look, here in Europe, a lot of people do speak English, so you will be fine with that, especially in the tourist industry, but not everybody does speak English here. So wherever you're going to go, learn a few words because it really makes life so much easier if we're here in Austria. So when you walk in a store, you say Grüß Gott, which is greetings to God, which means hello. Okay, when you come in, and make sure you know how to say please, bitte, and thank you, danke. And
yeah, when I was in, whenever I went to a store and I bought something, I didn't create conversation, but I always said danke because I knew how to say that. The only time I ever came out with a situation was I was actually at a Burger King, and I walked up to I was placing the order, and the girl looked at me and then smiled and then took 2 steps back and called for somebody else who did understand English. And I actually, apologized, for, she was understanding with that. And the other girl who couldn't understand English was appreciative of that. But yeah, just, even though it's not really necessary to apologize for not speaking the language, it is good to know certain words and phrases.
And we have videos on all these basic words and stuff like that when you travel, but just knowing a few words can really open a lot of doors and make people a lot more helpful, especially in places like France. I mean, I just go in and say, pardon, je suis idiot, je ne parle pas français. Hey, I'm sorry, I'm an idiot, I don't speak French. Then everybody helps me, and they speak English, okay? So make sure you know a few words, even though most of the people do speak English here. And kind of with that is, you'll see that on public transport, the people here don't speak very loudly. It's very quiet on the trains and the metros.
And this goes back to something that a lot of people have said, how you can tell an American, because we're very loud people. And I've noticed that about Brits as well when I was traveling abroad, that Brits are kind of loud too. Maybe not as loud as Americans are. I think Americans take the cake there. But like I said, I had encountered two or three times that I encountered English people when I was in Germany. They were there. I could hear them from 10 feet away. I mean, they were just pretty loud, but not all of them. Like I probably counted a few that weren't as loud, but apparently we take the cake. So yeah, Americans, shut up.
Not ever. You go to Greece, they're kind of loud. In Italy, they're kind of loud. But in general, it's not normal to speak really loud in public and speak on the public transport. So make sure you're keeping yourself softer and you don't have to speak so loud. So that's the fifth thing. Now, the sixth thing you should know is when you're coming to Europe, look, Cash is king in most of Europe, so make sure you can get cash out. If you're in Northern Europe, they love their cards, okay? And so you need to have a PIN number. So depending where you're going to go will depend how you're going to pay, all right? But it's always good to have some cash when you come over here. On average, what I found, the best rate you get is you take your debit card from your home bank back in the U.S. or wherever you're from, and the banks, for example, here in Salzburg, you go to one of the ATMs here, and you take out money that way. And that's what I've always found got me the best exchange rate.
I don't recommend that at all. Okay, what I recommend is carrying cash wherever you go in Europe. As someone like me who once worked at the bank, they charge you an arm and leg, especially if you go pull out money at the ATM. I know about the exchange rate and all that stuff, but you're better off carrying cash, and you're better off not carrying cash in your wallet in your back pocket. Keep it in some place where people don't expect it to be. And don't use cards because they will charge an arm and leg both in the United States and over there. So that's just my opinion, and you can take it for what it's worth.
Now, if you're coming the first time and you're worried your bank card might not work, call your bank to let them know you're...
Yeah, that's one thing you should do regardless whether you plan on using the card or not. Always call the bank and let them know you're traveling abroad, because if you use a card in a foreign land and they don't know you're in the foreign land, they can shut that down. That makes you have to make a phone call from Europe or wherever you are in the world, and they have to put it in that's where you are, so the bank knows, because they will not let those transactions go through. And there's also AFAC, I think it's Asset Foreign Control. AFAC, I think is what it is. That's the acronym. There's some countries where like you can't even if you're traveling there, the bank can't acknowledge it because they don't have a relationship with them. So just keep that in mind.
You're going to go, but also you might want to bring some money over with you. There are exchange houses here, or exchange some money before you come over so you have some in your pocket. Like I always come over with a couple €100 in my pocket, so just in case something goes wrong, I know I can get to my hotel and have the first couple days paid for. The seventh thing you should know about coming to Europe is Europeans, they don't bite. Okay, the people here aren't some kind of exotic creature to look at and go, ooh, later hose.
No, I mean, if you go over to the people are very friendly. Like, I've only been to Germany, but the people in Germany were incredibly friendly and incredibly enjoyable to be around. It really was a pleasure to be there and see that country. Yeah, that's true.
No, the people in Europe are very wonderful, and they want to help you because they love their countries. They're very patriotic here. So if you get lost, ask somebody for directions. If you want to know where a good bar is, or you want to know where the nightclubs are, a good restaurant, or where you should go shopping, ask a local. And that might be the concierge at your hotel or the front desk at your hotel or somebody you meet at a restaurant or a bar or on the street. People are usually very helpful here. And remember, maybe they don't speak a little English, but they'll be a lot helpful. So don't be scared of them, okay? You can talk to the French. They're okay. You can talk to the Italians. Even if they don't speak English, they'll still communicate with you. No problem, okay? The eighth thing you should know before you come here is, look, in the U.S., you're used to customer is king. The customer is always right. Service is always there. Would you like a free refill? Would you like this? In Europe, it's not the case. The customer isn't.
Yeah, I've learned that a customer service in Europe is a little bit different, and it's just a different way of doing things. And it's not like they ignore you; they're going to help you, but it's just not what you expect. They're not going to wait on you hand and foot. That's what a lot of people in the United States do. Look, I was at a restaurant this morning, and the woman, the server, came back to our table at least 4 or 5 times. Not just to bring us our water, to make conversation, to take our order, to bring our food, to bring us our check, and collect the plates from us and refill our water again. I mean, she must have come back 6 or 7 times. That apparently doesn't happen over there in Europe, but that's just a different way of doing things.
King. Service isn't the same in Europe as is it in the U.S. Okay, they don't care as much about the customer. They're not coming back to you. And no, there's no free refills in Europe. I'm sorry, but there's no free refills. And so what you should know is, hey, don't expect the over-the-top, I love you, please make my life better by giving me a big tip. Food culture, eating out culture, tipping culture, you have in the U.S., you don't have that here. And therefore, the service isn't as good. However, you can still get very professional service and sometimes very nice people and stuff like that, no problem. And also, tipping is a country
and say hello to those guys in the back. I bet you they're American.
By country thing. For example, here in Austria, they make a good wage, but you still tip about 10%. Germany, they make a good wage. You tip maybe 5 to 10%. If you go to Sweden, you don't really tip and they make a good wage. So you kind of see there's a differences where you go. And we have videos on lots of countries comparing Austria to the U.S. or Belgium to the U.S.
And if you're from America and you've never been over to Europe, I do recommend going to Wolters World on his site and look, because he gives great information. This is great information he's giving about this. And my brother, who's been to Europe more times than I have, so is my mom, and they would probably concur with a lot of what he's saying here.
And you can see, do I tip? How do I eat? These kind of things. And that'll help you out. But just know, service, you're not king here, okay? The ninth thing you should know are the elevators. Now, in the U.S., you're used to taking elevators everywhere. I'll just tell you now, make sure you get a few laps on the Stairmaster before you get here because you are going to be walking up a lot of steps here. Europe is not super handicap accessible or limited mobility accessible, okay? So get ready for lots of steps, but also the elevators here are a lot smaller, okay? You're not going to get a family of 4 in the elevator at the hotel. You'll get 2 and maybe a piece of luggage up there, okay? And don't be surprised if you got an elevator, we have to actually pull the middle door open to get out. Now, no, it's not everywhere, but just one of those things, be ready.
Yeah, there's actually one of those elevators where you have to pull one of the things out in downtown Columbus that I've been on before, one of the old style elevators where you're not pushing the buttons. But when I was at the hotel in Frankfurt, the rooms were small in the hotel, the elevator was small, but it was manageable. It was all right, and I didn't do a whole lot of walking up and down stairs, although I imagine you probably are places where you have to do a lot of it.
For it, okay? Also, a lot of times in Europe, the ground floor is at 1. 1 is the first floor up. So if you got a room that says, 128, you're like, oh, I'm on the ground floor. No. You're on the first floor, i.e.
Now, in the United States, sometimes the ground floor says G, but even if it says if you're on 122, that's your room number. That's usually the first floor or on the ground floor. But yeah, I understand that.
The second floor in the U.S., so you got to walk up a flight, okay? The 10th thing that I see a lot of people do is they go to open a door and they walk into it, or they don't know which way to go, and they'll walk away from the door and not go into the store.
Now, I didn't have anything like that, but I did see Australians, the revolving doors, try and go the other way. Because I guess down in Australia, you go counterclockwise versus clockwise. And that I did see that.
You'll see is when you come here, some doors are push, some are pull, some you're just not sure, and it doesn't always make sense. So there's a place you want to go in, and you see people there, and you can't get the door to open. Instead of push, try pull. Instead of pull, try push. It sounds super silly, but I've seen people all over here walk into doors because they thought it was a push and just went bam, okay? So be careful with that. And the 11th thing I'd like you to know before you come is, look, when you get hotel rooms and you get a single room, a lot of time it's a single bed, like a twin bed, okay?
And that's the same thing. It was a room for 3 people. All of us had single beds. They weren't double. In the United States, most of the beds you'll get in a single room will be a queen size, will be bigger. But yeah, there were 3 beds, and they were all single size beds.
You get a double room, it's 2 single beds. It's not like when you go to the Holiday Inn and get a double room, which has 2 big queen beds or king beds. Hotels here are much smaller. The rooms are smaller, the bathrooms are smaller, all kinds of stuff, okay? So just know the beds are going to be smaller, and also, if you get a double bed, it's basically 2 twins pushed together, and there might be a crack in the middle that you might lose your children, which we have before. And actually, I think I lost my dad once too, in the crack. So just so you know, those are some of the little differences before you come, and then they're not going to be such shocks when you get here. So it's a nice little easy, oh, okay, now I know some of these little differences, so I'm better prepared. What are some other tips that you have for people on their first trip to Europe? Please put in the comment section below so we can help other travelers have better times abroad. If you like videos like this, we have 10 things that'll shock you about Austria, 5 things you'll love and hate about going to America, tips on travel hacks and ways not to get ripped off, all on our website at woltersworld.com, and also here on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/woltersworld. So if you click that subscribe button down there, we've got 1 or 2 travel videos coming out every week, so why not sign up? Anyway, we think...
Yeah, Wolters World does an outstanding job, and this is what Americans should know before they visit Europe. And he should probably do one of these every year because maybe things change. And he does a lot of traveling. He has a lot of videos on YouTube, and it's certainly worth the like, share, and subscribe to him. Just like I would appreciate if you like, share, and subscribe for me as well. But yeah, this is interesting. This is based on my experience over in Germany, and I'd like to go see other countries. Eventually, I will. Please, thank you very much. I enjoyed this video. Please click like, share, and subscribe. and have a good rest of your day. Thanks for watching.